Hello, hello, hello. We're back again. And this time we are reacting to a TikToker who says he knew Jason Arday. Yeah, we're still back on the Jason Arday videos. He's the gift that just keeps on giving. I think after a week, we're gonna forget about him and he will go back into his cave and hide because that's what he deserves to do. He's a bare-faced liar. But let's see what this guy's to say.
Jason Arday, man, he's moving wild. Listen, I knew it was a joke thing, and I knew it was fraud from man said he was a mute. What do you mean, bro? I went to school with you, bro.
I'm gonna interrupt. He knew it was a mad thing, and he knew it was a fraud. But somehow you watched this guy go on this morning, go on U.S. News, and lie to the people, and you never said anything. But now he's become big news. You say something. That's even worse. You let this guy become the first black professor in Cambridge, and you didn't say anything when you knew his life story was a lie. Not until it blew up. That's all I'm wondering.
I was in primary school with you. You and my brethren nibs, class clowns, chatty patty, all the time, bro. What do you mean you was a mute? The brother was chatting. Yeah, all the time. And I didn't just go school with him. I went Sunday school with him as well. And you know, if you go Sunday school, you get to go to the clubs, the Tuesday or the Thursday. In the week after school, you go club, play a little ping pong, kick ball, the tuck shop was there, all of that. Them man were there.
Okay, so yeah, as I said before, this guy he's blown up now. That we know that he's a compulsive liar, but the fact that he said he knew he was a liar and knew it was a fraud, it's like this guy's been out there for years. He was on This Morning no more than maybe 2-3 years ago. Maybe this guy didn't see This Morning, but if you knew him, you would have known that he was in the news as like this professor. He was so-called mute, and you never brought this to anyone's attention. Now you're on TikTok saying, "Oh, he's a fraud." You could have said that years ago, and the lies would have stopped. We'd have nipped this guy in the bud. But instead, people sat down there and just watched him lie. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this. I think there's a systematic cover-up. I think people had figured out that he has been telling some lies, but because of what they thought he could be for the culture of black people, this positive light of this person who ran the marathons, he was a mute. All this stuff that he said happened to him, surviving cancer, yeah, even that. Everything that he said, they just looked at this guy as a positive role model for black people, to the point where if anyone probably did come up and say some of this stuff doesn't seem to quite mold well with being truly the truth, I think they would have just brushed it under the carpet. Because these people are really woke. Because they already put this guy on a pedestal as this black professor, the first black professor in Cambridge. And I felt like there must have been a cover-up where people knew he wasn't what he was making out to be, but they just sat down there and brushed it under the rug. There must have been, because it's just weird that nobody done their due diligent homework on this guy to figure out that half of the stuff he was saying seemed extraordinary feats. even for him, maybe not for Superman, but for him, cancer, broken leg, marathons, not being able to speak, it's a lot. It is a lot. He's lived one hell of a life. According to the Walter Mitty character, this guy has made things up to the extent that you just couldn't believe that he was allowed to get so far with the lies, and not one person knew him from his past to say, hey, this isn't true. And we have such things as social media, which this guy is on, and now he's opened his mouth years later. Crazy, right? Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'm out.